Good morning, everybody. We are going to work on sipping on sunshine today, but there's not much outside today, is there? I wanted everybody to have the opportunity to meet my new little one here. This is Lola. She has been at the shop with us this week because Jeff, my husband's been out of town, so we've had some fun with her this week. So she is an 11-week-old Jack Russell who likes to chew on anything, including her leash. So she is an absolute little sweetheart. So if you would like to pop in and say hello to her, um, then she will be here in and out. Jeff's supposed to be home tonight, so I'm not sure if she'll be here the rest of this week or not, but we'll definitely bring her at least, a couple of days a week or some. Maybe not on Wednesdays on average, but we'll see. So I'm going to give you guys a little better view. Look at this adorable face. She's just so dang cute. And she has been so good here. I am absolutely amazed that she's done so well, especially being so young. So we are having a good time here right now. Woof. What are you doing? So she is currently sitting in front of the embroidery machine. And I have us set up. Thanks, Mary. Hi. I have the machine set up to do one of the blocks from Sippin' on Sunshine. It is absolutely darling. The blocks that they did are very, very cute. I really like them. The more I look at them, the more I like them. And there are definitely going to be some blocks that have either a multi-hooping. So there's a few that have, like there's a dragon wing that has lace wings. So you stitch the wings first, and then there's a little placement line that tells you where to put that set of wings. And then there is so sorry, pardon me. There's a couple different things like that. There's a lot of vinyl. We're going to be working with vinyl this morning because there is quite a bit of vinyl. So I wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable with that, because like I said, there's quite a few. There's a block that has a pitcher of like lemonade or something like that. Excuse me. And then there's a glass, and there's some glass bottles that are vinyl, different things like that. So there's quite a few blocks that are going to have vinyl in them. So we're going to do the grapes, which I just thought were super cute. They have some felt, they have some fabric. I don't have a kit yet. We are still waiting on the new fabrics. We have cut everything that we had in store, but we are still waiting on our delivery of the new fabric line to finish the kits. They are not ready. The designs aren't out yet anyways, but we are currently working on all of that. My point is I am using scraps for everything today. So the colors are not going to be exact, but the steps will absolutely be what you'll be doing to finish that block. And I printed all the instructions so we can kind of flip through and talk about the different techniques. There's some fringe, like I said, quite a bit of vinyl. There's some lace that you'll be attaching into some other blocks. There's a couple different types of things like that, but nothing that is like, holy crap. Hello, Miss Jan. Can you say hi to Jan? She's getting sleepy. She sleeps a lot, bless her heart. So we like I said, we've been having a really good time. So in my hoop, I have a 5x7. It's just a little 4x4 block. I didn't want it to take a really long time to stitch this out, so I wanted to make sure that there was time to talk about the quilting things and other blocks and all of that stuff. So I did choose a small block for that purpose, not because this is a super difficult one. Again, this is just because we have some vinyl in there. So the first step that we're going to do is just the placement line for the batting. I'm going to swap these guys here. So you can see we just have that going down. I will not be using this block when I actually make the quilt because like I said, I'm not using the right fabrics at all. So everything is a little weird. So I'm just going to set down the batting and we're going to tack that in place. This is a construction stitch, so it should go around twice. This is one of my quilting patterns, not Kimberbell's. We're going to have some little sunshines with clouds. Again, I would really love a little bit of sunshine today, but it doesn't look like we're going to get very much. But shouldn't be too cold, at least. It's not supposed to get super, super cold yet. So, all right. This should be a challenge holding a puppy. What do you think? I think we're going to have to put her down at some point. Let's see. All right, we're going to swap cameras and pop over here. So we are doing a 4x4 version of this with sunshines and clouds. And we'll let Lola kind of see what's going on over here. So we're going to get rid of all of our batting that's outside of our square. All of the scissors got put together and we no longer know where's the good pair. So batting is always a little stickier. You have to find, like the really good spot. This is a little thicker than what we've been using for batting. But again, it was the right size and it was in the drawer and ready to go. So got cute little puppy butt there. Such a good little girl. Jan had a bag class in here yesterday and she was so good. Even with a bunch of people hanging out, she did a really great job. So again, we're just going to trim off that excess and back at the machine, it's going to stitch down the line for the fabric. Again, my fabric is 100% pulled out of the scrap bin. So the colors do not match. I know Miss Cindy, who just said she loves my baby. I do too, but Cindy got to hold her and she slept in Cindy's arms for quite a while yesterday. It was super cute. We did a little lesson in the morning on how to do quilting, which is always fun. So that's on the Luminaire or your anything with the design center. That's what we were working on. So this is white with blue, like light blue, kind of teal colored aqua, whatever stars, I guess. And again, this is not the correct fabric. This is not color wise what this block will look like, but all the steps will be correct. So we're just going to base this down and then we're going to do the quilting steps. The quilting, like I said, is just some simple little sunshines and clouds. This again is one of mine. I'll show you all of the things that I have designed for this. You can still get them for free if you purchase the bundle before it becomes a live product, if you will. So as long as it is still on pre-order and you purchase the bundle, you will receive our quilting designs for free. And she's asleep on the table over there. I wish I could just turn the camera and show you guys because it's so dang cute. She's an absolute doll. We did really, really good getting this dog. She's so well behaved. She gets a little crazy because she sleeps so much during the day. She gets a little crazy at night. But with the other dogs at home, she gets to burn off some of that energy. But she like hops around the bed and gets a little crazy. Does the whole nipping, biting thing. She wants to play with you and you're the chew toy, which of course I don't want to be a chew toy. That's not on my list of wants at this point. So we'll just see how that all goes. I'm sure that will settle down as well. But even when she's driving you nuts and biting you, and it actually does hurt because those puppy teeth are super, super sharp, she's still so cute. But we are about done with this. So I am going to grab hold of my instructions because I don't know exactly which ones are supposed to be felt and which ones are not. So let's just take a peek. So just so that you guys can see, the block that we're doing are these cute grapes. So they have a blue with white background. I have a white with blue background, and I did the quilting with the green so that you could see it. I would probably have used like a cream color instead for real, but I think this will work out just fine. So the first thing that we are going to do is the leaf, which is going to be a darker green. Let's see. This one will work. I had put in kind of the sage green color. I didn't know what order any of this was in. I decided literally like a half an hour before I went live which block I was going to do. So the prep was a little harried and I knew I was going to need green. So I threw green in there. So this is just a darker green. Again, 990 from the Exquisite line. And we're going to do the leaf that's at the top. Oh, it helps if you hit the threader button. You know, that darn needle wants to have the thread through it, not sit next to it. Sometimes I just don't understand. Hello, Miss Jane. It's all good that you're a little late. I did get another dog. So this is actually number 6 in our house. We have 6 puppies now. Well, actually 4 that are puppies, kind of 2 dogs, but total of 6 animals that all happen to be dog types. We've got a 8-year-old. His name is Ollie, and he is a pit lab mix. He was a rescue. So we're not 100% sure on his age or what his actual designation of type of dog is, but he definitely has some staffy pit in him. He looks like he's got some lab in him. So he's a mutt, but he's a really cute mutt, and he's very well behaved. So he's 8. The next oldest is Jack. You guys have all seen Jack because I did the whole picture play thing of him. So there's lots of Jack pictures that have been shown around here. Our next oldest is Stella. She turned 1 in December. She is a golden doodle who is 3/4 golden, 1/4 poodle. And she is solid black. She is absolutely beautiful. She's like a black golden retriever. She doesn't really have any of the poodle hair. It's not really curly or anything. So she's super, super, super pretty. And then next we have Ruby, who is also a golden doodle, but she's a miniature. And she is the opposite. She's 3/4 poodle, 1/4 golden. And so she does have curly hair, and it's red, which is why we named her Ruby. Absolutely beautiful. My bobbin thread is almost empty. Well, that is lovely. I looked at it, and it looked like it had quite a bit in there, but evidently it didn't. I apologize. Good morning, Miss Karen. Hi, Mom. Cindy, Jan, again to Mary. And yes, Jane, I'll change the camera over again. She's passed out cold. So I guess she can just sit on that table. That'll work out just fine. Yeah, there's quite a bit of bobbin on there. That's interesting. Okay. But that's okay. I got more right here. So we've had a lot of you guys coming in looking for pre-wounds. We do have more on order. We are currently out of stock. They've been on back order. I ordered I think it was 24 tubes. They sent me about 12. And so I've ordered more even since then, and they are still not in stock. And unfortunately, there's not a expectation date of, we hope to have them by this. There's nothing like that posted on the site. So unfortunately, I don't know when those will be in. So if you've been looking, that is why, unfortunately, why we don't have any. They are on back order. I'm going to need a brown. Let's go with you. So for anybody who is just joining us, I am using 100% scraps. None of this is coming off of the color, didn't say get this color fabric. I didn't do any of that. I pulled everything out of my scrap bins. There's 2 colors of green felt. There's 2 colors of green fabric, and then some threads. And again, my background is not the correct quote unquote background for this. I'm going to show you the block again while it's finishing that out. This is the block that we're doing. So right now we're stitching this leaf. We've got the stem, and then we've got multiple colors of grapes, and there'll be vinyl over the top of that. Could you ask Carolyn if she knows where any clear vinyl is? I searched high, low, under, you name it. It's been, I couldn't find any clear vinyl. So the only vinyl I have has little specks in it, which would work again for a sample, but it won't show you all the pretty green grapes underneath of it quite as well because there'll be little specks in front of it. Yeah, unfortunately, shipment from OESD is, and it doesn't matter whether it's an OESD product or whether it's a dime product, it is slower than molasses right now. Everything's on back order. I have no idea what they're doing over there. The thread is coming, but oh, bless. I just need a like 4x4 piece. Thank you. Where was that? I didn't look wherever it was. So we are unfortunately out of stock of a few things that we would not normally be out of stock of, but we are able to order OESD products from another vendor. So they vend with like a mass vendor who has a bunch of different people. It's Checker is who we get a lot of our stuff from. And instead of having to have, 20 accounts with different vendors, those vendors sell to Checker and then we buy from Checker. We only have one bill, one shipment. Makes that kind of quite a bit easier than having, to have an account with every single designer or whatever. So we can still get things from Checker, and those generally come pretty quick, but even they're starting to run out of their stock. And for whatever reason, it's just really, really slow. I don't know. Thank you so much. Where was it? Oh, in the batting. I didn't look in that drawer. Dang it. Thank you so much. Yeah, so all right, we are just about tying off on this guy here. We're going to unthread my green. So that is not the green I'm going to make the grapes with. The green I'm going to make the grapes with is what I used for the quilting. And again, if you're just joining us, all of my colors today are scraps. None of this is out of a kit. This is literally, I went to my scrap drawers, grabbed 2 shades of green, grabbed 2 felts, and I wanted something that you would be able to see the stitching on and everything. So I went looking for a white. This was the closest white I had. So again, this is not color wise going to match your final, but the shape and the steps that we do and all of that kind of thing will absolutely be correct. So this is, again, just the stem up at the top. So I'm going to see if I can. There's my little girl. So, yep, she's out cold. Bless her heart. I will not complain. So this was the vinyl that I was going to use because that was all I could find. But now I've got clear because Carolyn knew where to look. I looked through like all the bins in the back because that's where I thought it would be. And I looked in the batting drawer and I looked in the other drawer, but that was as far as I got. And I ran out of time too. So, all right. Again, she's passed out. So I don't know. I might hold her if I don't have to trim. So Carolyn's going to come grab the little girl if I need her. So I'm going to swap threads and put in that green. I am thinking that all of these next steps are going to be in that lighter green shade that I've got here. So I think we're going to put that one in and cross our fingers because I didn't read the instructions before we started either. But then again, you probably knew that because you guys know me, right? I just kind of do whatever and hope that it works, but I'll jump ahead and see. All right, this is going to be the outline. And she is on all of my scrap fabrics. Come here, babes. I need that. Okay, thank you. All right, we are supposed to cover that with our light grape fabric. So this is my lighter green, and I am going to cover that up. How about we switch the camera? Clearly, she doesn't like to be on camera. She did scoot herself right out of camera view, didn't she? She's a little peanut, man. She likes to cuddle, which is exactly what I wanted. And I know it spoils her when you hold your dog, but you know what? It's okay. When they're that cute, they deserve it, right? So, to answer that other question, she is a 11-week-old Jack Russell. So we'll see if we'll see how well this works trimming next to her. All right, we're gonna switch cameras, and oh, there's a little puppy head. And we're gonna trim off that excess. Make sure I'm still on camera, but not gonna pop her in the nose. So there is a few things that are quick stitches, and there's a few things that are not quick stitches. So we'll kind of bounce around and talk about other things when we get another long stitch. Again, these are scraps, not the actual. These are, I believe, supposed to be solids. We didn't have solids in the bin, or I would have grabbed those. So this was as close as I could get to a solid. And I do believe the actual color is a bit lighter than this as well. So, yeah. So I don't know if you guys have seen, I have a little stuffed, I guess, pillow of one of my older dogs over by the printer. So I was printing the instructions and I was holding her. Big surprise, I know. And here we go. And she saw that pillow and she started growling and yipping at it. She did not like it at all. I was very surprised. I was like, oh, well, alrighty then. This is going to do a decorative outline around that background piece. The next piece that we're going to do is some of the felt. And got a couple different sized pieces over here. I've got a dark green piece and I've got light green pieces. So 2 shades of felt, 2 shades of fabric. So there are some other things that I wanted to suggest. I am completely drawing a blank on which customer this came from, but it was a customer's idea, not mine. So I don't want to quote unquote steal it, but I do want to share it. One of the things that she does at home is she doesn't put backing on until she has a second quilt that she can use as the backing. So she just makes them reversible. So that saves on storage space, that saves on backing fabric. And then you would just use a binding that looks nice on both of them. That's not usually overly difficult either. So all right, so it is asking to leave in that light green color. It does want me to switch to a darker green color. I think maybe I'll just use that leaf color when I get there. But what it's showing me here is placement lines for my light green felt. So I have a couple grapes down here, and then I have a few, one to the left and kind of one in the middle over here. So it's just giving me placement lines of where to put my light green felt. I have some little squares here that might actually work very well. So when I brought her the end of last week, if you're from around here, you know it was cold and it was wet and it rained and it was, I mean, it was just like the wet just sank into your bones. This poor little dog was freezing, and I didn't have anything for her, so we'd go outside and she'd just start shaking. And so I bought her this little T-shirt, which it's better than nothing, but I actually bought a couple different things, and this was the only one that fit her. She's so tiny, everything doesn't fit. So the Sippin' on Sunshine is going to be one of the like 40 by 40, the square quilts. Those all end up at about the same size. So they do try to keep that fairly consistent, which is really cool. So again, you could absolutely use the front and a back as the different quilts, and then you would not have to store that in drawers or boxes or bins or wherever it is that you keep all your beautiful things when you're changing things out. So that would enable you to have less off the wall that you have to store and find a place for. I thought that was a really, really great idea, and very interesting. And I mean, I never thought of it, but you could do that with anything. I mean, it's so many different things. And I've made reversible things before, but it just never dawned on me to make one of these reversible. So got a little watermelon here. We've got a watermelon block. And so I made some watermelon quilting to go around that. Sounds like it's raining. I was mildly concerned with the weather that we have, that we would have some power issues. We do occasionally, when we get storms, we do sometimes have some issues over here. And I was a little worried. I thought that'll be the time that we are out, right? When I really need it to go live, because it's really hard to do this without power. I suppose I could just be on my phone, but that would be very shaky, huh? We've seen me carrying a phone around. That doesn't work very well. Hello, Pumpkin. How are you? What's happening? Hey, come here. Hey, baby. He's a good girl. She's a little wiggle worm, though. Yep. So I'm not sure exactly what started it. We've always let the dogs sleep in the bed, but I gotta tell you, 6 of them, that's a lot. There's not as much room for you uh, in bed when there's that many dogs. All right, so I've got that trimmed out. Our next piece is going to be some of the darker, and that is going to be the dark felt. So I am going to go ahead and change that thread. Lock that down. So I am going to switch to that 990, which is the same as I did for the leaf. When I'm actually stitching this, I will probably have 3 different color of green, maybe a little more olivey color for the leaf than the bright green, but I don't know. Well, I guess it would depend on the actual colors of felt that we're using then. So that darn threader is so far back there. And don't forget to thread the needle. There we go. All right, so this one is going to be the darker green felt. So I'm going to stab in the dark that this is all let's see, dark grape. Then we're going to go back and do some more grapes. And we're still going to use felt. So we're going to use some more light green felt and some more dark green felt. So we'll decide whether we like that that dark green in there or not, and whether that matters, I guess, huh? All right, so this is, again, please forgive the colors. This is what I had in my stash. So I have no idea how this is actually going to turn out look-wise. Yes, Miss Chris, they definitely have a little bit of energy. This is our second. So our 2-year-old is also Jack Russell, and he's actually, he has moments where he's crazy, but he's fairly calm now. He's only 2, but he's not that crazy, which is probably why we went ahead and got another one. I have a feeling she might be a little crazier than he, but at the same time, this is what we do a lot. She sleeps very often on me, but she's a little sweetheart. All right, so this is end of the dark green, and it is a raw edge applique, so that is why we're changing thread colors. So I do think we're going to want to swap between those different pieces in the threads. I don't think we're going to want the light thread on our dark felt. I don't think that'll look very good. We're just going to pull her little booty down right there because I got to hold this felt. And she talks a lot. I don't know if I've ever had a dog. Well, no, our golden retriever talks quite a bit, Miss Piper. She's the next one after Ruby. We got a purebred golden, which we had a purebred golden when Jeff and I were first together. And we had that dog for a very long time, of course. Then when my son was born, we realized he was allergic to dogs because we got him tested. He's allergic to, I feel like, almost everything. But oddly enough, he is not allergic to cats. So he's now a cat guy. He has 2 cats who are absolutely adorable. The sad thing is that I am allergic to cats, and so is my husband. So it's a excuse me. It's a little sad because, you know, we now have all these dogs, and so we have dog hair. So when my son comes over, he doesn't usually stay real long because he starts sneezing or, eyes itchy or whatever that happens to be. There you go, honey. And when we go over, both Jeff and I are allergic to cats, so we don't stay there super long. A lot of times, just hi, what's up? A very large, long tail on this thread. Look at that. I don't think we're going to have any more dogs. I had a conversation, actually, even last night. I said, there's that TV show that was called 8 is Enough. I said, we're not doing that. He was like, well, one of us could sleep on the bed or on the couch. And I just looked at him and I said, no, that would be you. He was like, no, I was thinking you. But honestly, I think the dogs, at least some of them, would follow somebody to the couch and lay with them there because they're so used to being with us. So this is just a small section here. And again, it is the light green felt. I don't know why I pulled the hoop out. I need to put the felt in there, don't I? That would be smart. All right, so I've got another little tiny square of stuff here. We're going to place that in there. So this is just a little piece, not a very large section here. Honestly, if I had a outdoor space that was, heated, aired, comfortable all year round, I think I would probably adopt any dog I could, because it just breaks my heart to know that they're living in cages and don't have anybody to love them. But I can tell you that 6 dogs in the house is a lot. Especially when one of them gets going, because then they all get going, and then it gets really loud, which sometimes there's an advantage to having being a little hard of hearing. But my daughter is very sensitive. Caitlin, you guys have probably met her if you've been around here, or at least heard about her. She's very sensitive to the loud noises, and she doesn't do very well with that. So we try to get them to not bark so loud in the house. That doesn't work very well, does it? All right, we are now going to do one more dark green felt. Just wanted to make sure. So I need to switch back to that other color. Again, this one's $9.90. I don't think I ever said the other one. Hang on just a second and I'll let you know what that is. There we go. Oops, I dropped it. She's now sleeping on the table in front of me. If you saw the Facebook post, she does that a lot. She did it at home with Caitlin. And I thought, why on earth do you have her on the table? Now I understand, because when you're holding her and then you just kind of set her down to do something, she falls asleep. And then you just were like, oh, she's so cute. And you just leave her alone, right? All right. This is, again, the dark green felt. Just a little piece again, right in the middle. All right, we're going to I have to say, I think the vinyl is really going to set this off. I really wasn't sure what she was going to do here, but I didn't think she would just sleep the whole time. I was a little worried because I was like, And Carolyn's so sweet. She's like, let me know when you need me to take her. But we've got a little a gated area here, so we can put her down and work when needed instead of holding her. But you can do a lot of work with her either on the table in front of you or even just one-handed. It's all dependent on how hard you want to try, right? All right, so a lot of times when we use the clear vinyls, it's going to be for windows of a car or windows of a house or something like that. This is just going to be literally to make them a little shiny, which is great. So I think that's really going to be a sharp block. Even with funky colors, I think it'll still be a pretty cool looking block. All right, just a little bit of trim in here. So these, if you didn't hear me say so earlier, are all raw edge appliques. So they are really going to end up the way that you have them. But again, you're going to have that vinyl over top. All right, so there is starting to come together. Kind of looking like grapes now. We're getting there. All right, so the next thing, love all this back and forth with the colors, huh? It looks like I am going to put the lighter thread back in and do place in line, great fabric stitch. One more set of grapes. So that is going to be so it says the light fabric, which I have to say light grape fabric, fabric AB, medium grape, felt, dark felt. That was felt. I don't see where they have the dark fabric going into That's really interesting. I wonder, I bet you those last two were supposed to be dark green regular fabric, and it's a typo. And it's very clearly says felt, but I betcha, because there's only one piece left, and it says to do it in the light green, which is the same as what we have underneath, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's what it says to do. So we're going to switch back to that other. Sorry, you had to listen to me reading all of that. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense because it told you to get 2 colors of fabric and 2 colors of felt, but it doesn't have you using both of them, which is an interesting conundrum. I'll have to shoot a message over to my rep and say, hey, something weird going on in these instructions. Yep, light green, dark green, light green, dark green. This is supposed to be light green. All right, I didn't tell you the color of this light green thread that I'm using is ES962 for anyone who cares. I was thinking that maybe we could have her be a shop dog. So I'll probably bring her a couple of days a week. We haven't really socialized our other dogs. They mostly just stay at our house. But she's getting very socialized this week. She's met lots of people. I have her over here. Michelle wants to say hi. All right. Does the vinyl come in the embellishments? I was surprised not everything came in the home sewn embellishments. Yes, Miss Karen. Unfortunately, they changed things for that home sewn, and I believe it will all come in this embellishment kit. I won't know 100% until I see it, but I do believe that that you will get the vinyl in your embellishment kit. Unfortunately, that home sewn, if you were watching when we did the stitch out together, I did talk about that a little bit and how mom had used, because she stitched those for me. She had used basically just scraps of things that she had at home versus purchasing a whole piece of something for, just needing a little 2x2 or 3x3 piece out of that. So I would imagine that it's in there, but I can't swear to it because I would have thought it was going to be in there for the home sewn. And I did know that, but it didn't really register. I guess I just assumed, quote unquote, what assuming does, that it wasn't going to need all of those other embellishments. It was just going to be a simple tile scene with fabrics. And that was not the case. It does have those embellishments like you mentioned. So I am hoping that they are included. We certainly could look at, if for whatever reason they're not, I can look at seeing what is needed and cutting that apart. Yep. Unfortunately, you just got to use the little scraps. What I'm doing here today, like I said, is 100% scraps. I won't be putting this in the final quilt because the colors aren't going to match with what it's supposed to be. But a lot of times, and if I had had more time this morning, I mean, I got here an hour before we started. I thought I'd have plenty of time, but every little thing takes more time than you expect it to. So, all right. I will double check and find out about that dark fabric because it very clearly says felt on those other pieces. And this is the last piece we're going to add before we put the vinyl on. So I will have to find out about that. I am guessing there's a typo in there somewhere. But I guess, they do make changes of things, but who knows? I would think that these two here are supposed to be probably a fabric instead, but it does have raw edge there and it doesn't have a decorative stitch over it. So it's very possible that they just changed their mind. Who the heck knows? All right, so that was the placement line for my light fabric, which I have a little bit over here. We're going to put that down so it's on top of the felt pieces instead of buried underneath. I think Kimberbell got a lot of flack probably. I know that I talked to them about it and they said that they had some dealers, people like me, say that they wanted, honestly, the opportunity to sell you guys full rolls of things versus having that opportunity, which from a sales perspective, of course, we all want to sell more stuff, but the reality is nobody wants to spend that kind of money and then have all of this stuff that you don't need that you have to store. And then when you do need it, you can't find it, right? And you have to end up buying more if you're anything like me anyways. But here I just have to ask somebody else because evidently everybody but me knows where things are at around here. But um it happens, doesn't it, Michelle? She's over there laughing at me. That's okay. It's the way I am. I'm good. I'm good at laughing at myself because, otherwise you just get really upset. It's just not worth it. So, can't laugh at yourself. You're going to be way too stressed out in life. So, all right, we've got a couple of fabric grapes now on the I can do this. There we go. So these are the ones that we just did. So all of the rest, so these here are light felt. This is light felt. But again, there's no dark fabric anywhere. So I'm just not really sure about that one. So hopefully I will be able to find that out and do a little bit of answering on that. So these are actually going to have a decorative outline on them because they're fabric versus felt. So the only reason that I think maybe the directions are correct is because there is no decorative line. Here, baby, come here. There's no decorative line stitching like this on any of the other grapes except for the first one. So unless that first one was supposed to be a different color than this one, maybe, I don't know. I think color-wise, it actually looks pretty balanced. I think it's good, but it's just odd that they ask you for two colors of fabric, light grape A and light grape B. Maybe they're just slightly different colors and I misunderstood. So that's possible too. Light grape A, light grape B. So they look like the same color to me though. So anyway, it's listed as two separate lines. So that's what I pulled. Well, good morning from Canada yourself. I hope you enjoy this. I just happen to have some pink velvet. Well, that's pretty cool. I don't have a lot of pink of anything. I'm sure you guys aren't surprised to hear that in the slightest. All right. So, after you stitch the decorative lines, we are going to place the shiny vinyl over top of the entire piece of the entire design here, basically. So I just had her cut me a 4x4 piece because I knew that would ensure I was covered everywhere. I am actually going to tape that down, mostly because I don't have as many hands today as normal. So I'm just going to put that right here so it's not going to slide around too much. If you are still sliding around, that's good enough. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do stitches on all of the grapes so that you see a decorative stitch there. And it's using that lighter color of green, and it's going to do a tack down, and then we're going to remove and trim around just the outside, so it'll cover the entire piece here. So vinyl can get pushed, so that's, again, unless you're literally holding the piece the entire time, I do actually recommend that you tape on the vinyl. You guys know I don't do a lot of taping, but that is definitely one of the places that I do. So it's doing a nice heavy line so you can see all of your edges. And it is doing it over every piece of the grapes in this particular step. How are we doing on time? Almost there. Okay, good. This is why I didn't want to do a big block, because then we're stuck and you guys are either having to hang out for way too long or, well, I gotta say, this is actually really cute. I liked this one when I was looking through it. And even with funky colors, I like this block. That's very sharp. So with that light color going over the dark, I do recommend that you make sure that you've trimmed as good as possible on that, especially dark felt, because it is it's going to show you that. So I can't now go back in here and clean up any of this because it's completely covered by the vinyl. So we're going to pop over here. There we go. And so you guys can see what we've got going. We now have some shiny grapes. I just need to remove the excess off the outside of all of that. So I'm actually going to set my little girl down again. There you go, sweetheart. Find your spot. She was like, I had my spot. It's your fault. You moved me. Hi. Hi. Thank you. Like I said, she's a cuddler. And I don't mind it a bit. All right. So I'm going to trim, again, close to those edges, but I definitely don't want to clip any stitches. And I also, for me personally, I try not to have too many chops because I don't like sharp edges of the vinyl that would poke. Now, of course, when you get into some little inserts parts, you're going to have to do a little cutting to get into those points, but it's really pretty. So Cindy, if you're still out there, thank you so much for the donuts. They were fantastic. I'm sorry I didn't get to say goodbye yesterday. Got caught up in having to do some other things. You forgot your label kit. I noticed that you didn't take one. I don't know if maybe you changed your mind. But all right. So there we have an absolutely adorable little block, even though it's all funky colors. That turned out really cute. The shine on that makes it a little bit harder to see, actually, but maybe I can get, there you go. That looks pretty good. You can see the colors and everything. It's very cute. I actually really like that. That's really darling. So some of the other blocks, one of the things that they talked about is if you don't want to put Sippin' on my mind, or I'm sorry, Sunshine on my mind, you could actually put your family name in there. You could put your kid's name in there if you happen to have two. Obviously, I can't put my dog's names there because I have 6, but you could put, whatever you want. You could actually pull text from your machine and line those up and have a little bit of fun with putting your own something on this particular block. Or you can stitch exactly as it's shown, of course. So very simple, straightforward block, which is why I definitely didn't pick this one. Same thing here. We've got pretty straightforward things. You have some fabrics for flowers, but it says Sippin' on Sunshine. This is actually the quilt piece that I have for that. It'll say Sippin' on Sunshine right there, and there'll be little flowers over here. So I thought that would be a pretty good piece for that. So that is that block. We've got a simple lemon. It's got some felt and it has some fabric, but this is, again, pretty basic. This particular one is the watermelon block. Again, dark green felt, but nothing really crazy. So this is felt here, but this is fabric. So not a whole bunch of different things there. So these are strawberries. You've got fabrics, you've got red felt, you have dark green felt, and that's all there was to that block. So using felt as standard fabric and applique. This particular one has foam in it. So there's foam behind the clouds. We've talked about foam before. I actually did a stitch out with that not that long ago. So not complicated. Just make sure that you trim well, but it's always going to be inside the exterior stitch line. So you do have a little bit of wiggle in there. Other than that on this one, it's just basic applique, but you are going to be putting foam down and that's going to be the first thing that you do, and then you'll do the fabric. So that is the Sunshine Block. I really like the Bluebird. It does use velvet and felt in here. You've got blue felt, blue velvet, and then dark green felt, and then standard fabrics as well. I really like that one. I'm not a big bird person, but I think that one's pretty sharp. So this is velveteen. It's just really pretty. And then this one's felt, that one's regular fabric. And then you have felt leaves so that they're kind of a little 3D. This one is very cute. There is a new leather coming that has the, I think a crosshatch, I guess, as the best description for that. So there is a tan embroidery leather, or maybe the stitches do that. I honestly, no, it doesn't look like it stitches. So there is a little bit of texture in the rim of the hat. All right, so not anything too crazy. Again, when you're trimming leather, it's the same thing as vinyl. Don't make really tiny choppy cuts because you'll see all of your starts and stops. Try to make smooth cuts so that things lie down nice and easily. This one has felt in the little bows here. Outside of that, it's pretty straightforward. It's just applique pieces and then adding in those felt pieces there. So nothing real big there, but a cute little black with a kite. This is the one I mentioned earlier. This is the dragonfly. So you're going to stitch the wings of the dragonfly first, and then you'll stitch the applique flowers, and there'll be a little line that says this is where you put that. So you do, I believe, put mylar in there as well. So you're going to use mylar, so there's a little bit of shine in there. So a few steps on that one. But again, nothing super complicated. We've got micro velvet on here, and then standard fabrics and stitching. So this one was pretty straightforward as well. Nothing really crazy about that, but I like the block. It's a nice, simple block there. And we have some more flowers. This one's a tulip. So this is going to be put together kind of like a tile scene. So you've got this flower and then this flower. And then you've got the top piece that we did with the dragonfly that's going to attach. So you're going to line up those stitches here. So you've got 1, 2, 3 pieces that make up that piece. So it's a little mini tile scene. You could actually stitch that separately if you wanted to as a tile scene as well. This one, you've got, again, that micro velvet down at the bottom. You've got a butterfly. Not a whole lot of crazy. Again, there's micro velvet. The mylar goes underneath the butterfly so that you have a little shimmer in there. That is going to be pretty straightforward. Got a little cute little ladybug down at the bottom. So you've got that to stitch. And the ladybug is down here, and the iridescent mylar is going to go under here. So that's going to be that. This is probably the biggest block. With background quilting, it's going to be an 8x10 block. This is supposed to be like a picnic. So you have your blanket down, you have sunglasses, you've got some food, you've got maybe some flowers and some flip-flops. So that's the idea of this one. I don't remember there being anything super crazy on this one either. There is velvet for this here, and then some fabric. I don't see anything else that's going to be crazy. So the you got a bread slice and then some strawberries on your plate. So that's probably supposed to be a sandwich. I mentioned earlier there were some like glass bottles that you're going to use the mylar. I'm sorry, not mylar. The vinyl, clear vinyl. So you're going to put clear vinyl over those. That is really the only thing. So that's going to all be done the same way that we just what we did. You're going to build the bottles and even let's see, the straw that's coming out of there. So all of that's going to go first, and then you're going to do the vinyl, and then you're going to do the cap, because the cap should be on top, of course. This one, there's a little label bar that you're going to put on top. So there's a few things that you're going to add to those pieces of vinyl, But again, nothing complicated other than what we just talked about with the block we just did. I mentioned that there is a cute little picture with a glass. This is what that one is. So you're going to be using vinyl on this as well. Like I said, with the bottles, it's going to be basically just like that. And we've got, I'm getting things out of order. Oh, there we go. Like, where's my other pages? The next one, this one does have a lot more going on. It does have some 3D aspects. You've got the wings of this. Again, you've got a button if you would like, and you've got some fabric here. One of the things that we found with the fabric is that it does fray over time. If you have a serger or even an overcast stitch on your sewing machine, if you overcast or serge the edge of that, maybe a rolled hem, if you have a nice serger, you could put that on there. Hi, Pumpkin. You could put that on there, and that would keep that edge from fraying over time. So we are going to use, again, Mylar under the dragonfly's wings, and that's going to be one stitch out here. So you're going to stitch the wings first, and then you'll do the basket. It will give you a placement line for where to put the wings at when we get to that point. Other product that you're going to use, again, that embroidery leather is going to be the basket. So, and then you're going to stitch so it looks like it is a cross hatch on the basket itself. So you're actually stitching the cross hatching on the basket right on the leather. So you'll want to make sure you have a thread color that looks good with that. Once I get in there, I can certainly try to come up with a list as well. This is how you do that. Piece of fabric, you're going to be told where to put it. There's a line there. You're going to line up that piece on the fold, and then it's just going to fold over itself like there's a napkin kind of thing in the basket. There are 3 different baskets. This one has a bread loaf and some flowers. It's dark brown embroidery leather here. But again, you're stitching that crosshatch. Oh my goodness. What are we doing? Hi. So there's a larger picture of that one. Can I show the whole project? Of course, I'd be happy to. Give me just a second when I get there. I am almost done. Again, there's the 3rd basket. That one is this. And I know you're sleepy, aren't you? And nothing super crazy on this. There is another piece of fabric that's going to come out of that one. So you've got a little piece of fabric here. You've got a bottle, cute little ladybug. These, you are going to stitch 2, part A and a part B. And you're going to stitch that. When I did the quilting for this, it actually looks like this. So you're going to have part A and part B, and then you'll sew those together, and it'll have the quilted star over the top of your pinwheel. So if you get my quilting, this file has these files underneath of it. So it's already going to be built, and then it'll just quilt right on top. So that is just folding fabric in the hoop and then sewing those 2 pieces together. And there is a line of grass. They have you do 4 pieces, and then there's a grass stitch that goes, and it goes underneath the baskets here. Here helps if it's on film or on the camera view, huh? I actually really like this. We're going to stitch a little pennant banner. I think you could use this in a lot of different places. You certainly could take that and sew them in. So this is going to be done basically like lace. You're going to put Mylar in there, but you have little bows that are built in, and then you're just going to tack that part down. So very cute and very simple and straightforward. So those are the blocks. No, I probably have a bigger picture, but this is the completed quilt. So where are the grapes? There's the grapes right here. You've got some filler blocks, which we've got some pieces. You got your bottles, your baskets with the grass underneath, a little picnic, some flowers here, your little mini tile scene. You've got a couple pinwheels here, 1, 2, 3, and then that big kite piece here. The sunshine is up top. Let me see what else I've got here. I don't know if I've got a bigger non-written on piece. Of course not, because that would be too easy. That's the two pieces split in half where you're going to sew those together, and then you're going to measure and sew the whole thing. So they have it with the piece covering the center, but they don't have very many. And I didn't bring the cover over, but I can pop over on the other screen and show you that. What I did want to show you was the quilting files that I came up with. So again, this one's going to be for your pinwheels. You've got a couple different watermelon choices. You've got sunshine with clouds. You've got this guy here, which I designed to go with the one that literally says sipping on sunshine. You've got basket for the basket one with flowers next to it, more clouds. You've got some butterflies. And I did the butterflies in a multitude of sizes. So these are just kind of flying butterflies that will fill up that block. We've got the pitcher with a glass and lemons for the one that has the pitcher on there. This one is a generic. It's just sunshine. It's supposed to be like suns that are a little more stained glass kind of look. You can use that as a filler block or however you would like. This is my border for the outside edge. And then I've got little lemons. You think so, huh? Okay. There's that whole star. That's what that quilting will look like for your pinwheels, but you can put that somewhere else if you would like. Another sunshine with the clouds that we showed today, and then a shorter piece for the border if you wanted to do that. And I do also have a filler block quilter that you can use for those 4x4 fillers. We've got some flowers on that. I've got a full butterfly. Let's turn that a little bit. Actually, while we're this way, for the small border, it literally says sipping on sunshine with the little sunshine in there. We have the 7-inch ones, or we have just under I think it's a 14-inch. So depending on what hoops that you have, you can either stitch this one and then this one, or you can stitch this one and then repeat those out. So those are for the 1-inch border. I have suns and clouds for a 2x6. I have a 2x4. Again, filler blocks. There's always a few filler blocks. So you've got the flowers for that. Long skinny guy, we've got sunshine and clouds. We've got an optional 4x4 of that. And then we have the butterfly all by itself. And then there is also another generic block. That's what this one is here. And I have this in a multitude of sizes. If you don't want a lot going on, you can have just a basic something behind it. So those are the quilting designs that I designed for this quilt. And again, you can do the bundle. You can do the bundle or the bundle deposit. That didn't switch. Where are you going? Come on, bud. There we go. Tired little girl. She's just passed out cold. Thank you. I appreciate the love of the quilting. It definitely is it's definitely a very fun thing that I get to do. So I've been doing those for a while. Sarah did the very first ones that were back with Candy Corn Quilt Shop. That was the very first one. And that was all her quilting designs. So that was what she did. The next one we split. We said, okay, you do these and I'll do these. And we did that for a few. And then Sarah was teaching Block of the Month and other things. So I just started taking over the quilting. So I've been doing it for a little while, mostly by myself. I got some ideas from Sarah and things like that, but most of it was things that I had come up with. So little Lola here, that is her name. She is not going to probably be here every day, but she is probably going to come back here and there. And we are definitely enjoying having her here. She's been really sweet, and it's been very, very nice having a little cuddle buddy. Yesterday it was a little warm holding her. It definitely had a little bit of holy crow, I'm warm. All right, so I think if I do this, I can share my screen. Then it's going to look really scary. I'm going to share my entire screen. So hang on. And then we're going, there we go. So there's my screen. There's all your comments. And we're going to pop over here and we are going to go to our website, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, just leabusewingcenter.com. Dun, 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 dun. You think? So we've Ronnie's been working on updating that and making this nice and fun with bright things. These are some of the new things that have just come in. I mentioned the little label maker. You can actually make your own labels and sew them in, or actually even label directly on the fabric. We have these little kits. I think we sold out of the puppies yesterday. Yep. But we still have a couple elephants, and we will restock those. They seem to be pretty cute. And maybe we can pre-talk and there may be a class on how to do that. We'll see how it works out. But so some of the, again, newer products that you can pre-order are here, and then of course live at Leabu and yada yada yada. But what I wanted to show you was dun, 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 dun. It's probably better if I just do a search. Why don't I just do a search rather than trying to read a screen that all right, Sippin. On Sunshine. There we go. All right, so here is the full size. Let me get rid of this. Here. All right, so this is the actual full picture of that. So there's the grapes that we did today. Again, slightly different colors, but kind of close. You've got sun, clouds, and a cute little butterfly here, sipping on sunshine, some filler blocks. Like I mentioned, you can put whatever you would like on these. And if you don't like the star for your pinwheels, you can choose one of those other 4x4s and just do that on there. That will definitely work. Here's a 2x4 filler block. This is that little mini tile scene. You've got a piece here, and then a piece here. And so we're going to just sew those three together to make that little scene there. We've got 3 different baskets, a couple different leathers here, and then we have the little runner that has the stitching of grass in that. And the picnic, all of the little things. Here's the picture with a glass. So mine's reverse, so you'll see the picture kind of coming out of here. And then I talked very quickly, but you can actually put your own words in here and then just don't stitch the words it has and stitch whatever you would like it to say. You don't need it to say sipping on sunshine because there's one up at the top, but you certainly could if you wanted to. Here's that 1-inch border that's going to say sipping on sunshine, and then the 4-inch border that's going to be those flowers if you use ours. So again, this is it is available to get those files for free if you pre-order, and you can do either the deposit or purchase that in full. Either way. I hope this gives you a little bit better visuals and how cute some of these blocks are. And I know my kind of dog. Look at the. I mean, I don't even have to hold on to her. It's like, look, Ma, no hands. She just cuddles right in, nice and warm on those cold days, and then way too hot on the ones that you don't want. But you're not gonna put her down. That's just how it goes. All right, so I ran over a little bit, but I'm trying to go through all of that stuff. You are very welcome, Miss Nancy. I'm happy to help. Hopefully this gave you that view that you wanted, and you can see what those quilting designs are. Of course, Kimberbell has also put out designs, so you could choose to purchase theirs if you would like. They tend to be a little bit more expensive than ours do. So even if you didn't get in on the pre-order, you decide later, we do have ours available for purchase at a lower price point than where Kimberbell is going to be at. So I hope this helped if you are thinking about doing that. We have, like I said, anything that we have in stock, we have already cut. The kits are all bundled and put together. We just need to add the new fabrics. There's an entire new fabric line coming out. There's going to be a new canvas. There's some, I mean, it's really, really cute stuff. I like it even just standalone. I think it's a really great collection. It's bright and it's cheerful, which, you know, we all need when it looks like yuck outside like it does today. So thank you so much for joining. I certainly appreciate you all. Looks like somebody said something else down here, and I switched out. So he yes. So I have pictures on my phone. She actually did that in the car. So she crawled up and she curled around my neck, and she just had her head laying right here. And she she was very, very sweet. And yep, I had to take pictures because it was really cute. So when I got home before I got out of the car and moved her, I took pictures so that we could remember how cute that was, because you know when they get bigger it doesn't work as well. So, all right. Thanks again, guys. I certainly appreciate you all. I will see you. So next week I'm going to be out of town and probably not able to be live, but I will look back and find something. So next week's will probably be a rerun unless I can pre-record something before Friday or Saturday. If that happens, then it will be that, and I'll let you know because there'll be an email that says that. Otherwise, it will be a recording next week. I am flying to Arizona to help my daughter out. So next week probably won't be live. Well, it won't be live. It may be new if I can get something pre-recorded and just have that ready to go next week. Otherwise, it will be a rerun. Reruns are okay, right? As long as it's a good one. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you for sure in 2 weeks. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy stitching. Bye, guys. She did. All right. So I haven't actually logged off yet to answer the question. I am using the 6-inch double curve scissors, except I can't type either. Sorry about that. Can't type, Miss Karen. But they are my absolute favorite applique scissors, 6-inch double curves by Famore. We do have them in stock. I think they're about $22 or something like that. All right. See you guys. Bye.